I can't wait.
Yeah. What's up, y'all?
We are here, man.
Technology.
Yep.
Speaking of technology, just today we were having lunch with my son, and my son was like, "What if this would have happened 20 years ago?" I'm like, I don't know.
That would have sucked. Dang, we wouldn't have talked to anybody. We would have been so caught up and cut off from our friends. Holy crap.
Yeah, because I think 20 years ago was just the beginning of maybe Skype. That was like the only thing that existed.
10 years ago, Skype.
You know?
Damn.
So, in a way, it's good that it's now because of technology, we're able to do this stuff, you know? So,
oh, hell yeah.
Hi, everybody. Yeah. So, here we are with the one and only Mike song.
Yes.
We're so excited to have everyone join us today. We have a lot of members in Versatile Next Generation and the Versatile community that hear of you. But here we are, at least in this essence, how can we open the doors and opportunity for people to learn more about you, Mike? You know, and how lucky we are that we get to conversate and just talk with you, really.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me. This is so cool, for reals.
Thank you for making yourself available. Last week we had Rennie Harris, and that was such an amazing conversation to connect with our mentor and inspiration for dance. Today we have you. Next week we have Why Not. So we're just trying to just connect our folks with all these amazing dancers that we have so much love and respect for. And of course, Mike, you came like, it was kind of organic. I was like, I want to talk to Mike.
Word.
It was a tie between you and it was a tie between you and Anthony, because both of you are so dynamic with your personalities. But I also realized I've had the longest relationship with you in that sense. I've known you the longest and have seen you evolve as an artist, as a person, as a man, a hubby now.
Word. Yeah, it has been a long time. Oh, snap. That's right. Yeah, we met like 10 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah. We're
Easily 10, if not more.
Damn. That's like what's 12. Up.
Yeah. You know, but here we are. And then also, just so you know, Mike, if it weren't for the COVID-19 today, we would have been celebrating our 15-year anniversary with Versatile.
Whoa, wow, 15 years? Congrats.
Dude, so,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet because we're healthy, we're here, that's what matters, you know? But us as dancers, I'm sure you can relate, we miss the community so much.
Yeah.
So, but then how lucky we are that we get to talk to you and hopefully get to laugh and reminisce and talk.
Hell yeah, so down.
So thank you so much for making the time, Mike.
Thank you again.
Oh, absolutely. And congratulations again. 15 years is amazing. Like, we just had our 10 years. So the idea of our Kinjaz had 10 years. So to think 15 years, I really salute y'all for like, that's just organizing a group for that long and just like the ins and outs and the domino effects of managing that. Like, I salute you guys for real. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. And coming from you, I know it means a lot because I know you know what it takes to run any machine, right? It's not easy. People get to see the end result, like what we put on the screen or TV or on shows or performances. But for us, it's about the process, right?
Absolutely.
And all the work that it takes to get there. And we always say the hardest part is the people.
Dealing with personality.
Dealing with all the beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that's the ultimate. I feel like ultimate training, right? I hear
it
that.
teaches us a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
So I'm sure one day we'll have another conversation with just with you and Anthony and us, even as directors.
Yeah, that would be dope. Absolutely.
We wear different hats at different times, So that's a lot. But here we are again, Mike. We could, like I said, this could be organic conversation based, and that's what I want it to be. But I know a lot of our youth are listening in, and it's just about them getting a glimpse about your career, who you are, and what you do. So we're just going to get to some questions because we actually put some questions together. And, we wanted to make sure that we were just a little more organized versus just talking it up and talking about food.
Cool.
You know?
I'm down for whatever. Let's go.
So let's go. So honestly, just to give a glimpse into you and who you are, can you just share a brief history of when and how you started dancing?
Sure.
I don't know this story, so I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to hear
when
and how you started dancing.
So I always like imitated Michael Jackson and like messed around like everybody else, right? Because that's the most accessible thing to our generation. When I was a kid, and then it wasn't until actually this is gonna sound funny, but I was inspired by K-pop when I was in middle school, right? So I'm dating myself. So this is around like 98, 99, 2000. Uh, and I say K-pop because, you know, as an Asian dude, that was the most relatable thing that I could imagine myself as, right? There was no Asians on TV at that time. So like when I was watching K-pop, that era of K-pop was different because I feel like Asia, at least with pop music, there are a lot of times they're imitating what's going on in America. And at that time, they were like straight up the K-pop singers were breaking, they were popping, like, and so they would have like long K-pop dyed hair, sing a verse, and bust like a windmill or a flare, or like bust a wave or a tut. I was like, yo, this is sick. And so yeah, I would memorize and like literally imitate these K-pop dances. And then from there it like sparked more of a curiosity, right? That was the most accessible thing to me. And then from there, at the beginning of high school for me, that's when like Napster came around. And then when Napster and LimeWire, for anybody in here next gen that doesn't know what that is,
Napster.
yeah, it was like really hard to find stuff. Like straight up, it was not easy to find anything dance related beyond just seeing it behind the artist in a music video. Or if you were lucky enough to have friends that had those VHS tapes. And so Napster is when I was obsessed with like finding dance, but I wasn't good at finding it yet. And so like I would just type in all the different kinds of like just keywords I could think of, right? Like cool dance moves, hip hop dance thing. And I would just try and be like, what am I gonna find? And then I found that's when Mr. Wiggles had all his clips on Napster. You know what I mean? And he was just early on that. And I feel like, look what happened. He like sprinkled into, he had such a wide reach because Napster was accessible to everybody. And when you were searching any keyword that had to do with dance, and I was like, wave, glide, I was like, oh, wow, he's got a video for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Mr. Wiggles. For
Yeah,
sure.
shout out Mr. Wiggles for sure. And so that was like for me the beginning of like at home going further down the rabbit hole. And so then like I went onto his website, I ordered his volume 2 slides and glides.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the first VHS I downloaded, and then or I ordered. And then also like simultaneously I kind of had this like I'm kind of like a child of a bunch of mixture things I feel like in dance, as we all are. But at that time I was watching Mr. Will's clips, but I also I had seen this video of like a giant group of dancers. It was like 30 people. Later I found out that it was Team Millennia from Cal State Fullerton, but at the time I didn't know what it was. And I just found it somehow on Yahoo before Google was a thing, right? Everything was on Yahoo. And I downloaded this clip and it blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like freaking 30 people doing the same thing. And again, from like a relatable standpoint, I was like, and some of them are Asian. And I was tripping out. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so I obsessed over finding more videos like that, but I couldn't find any. Because the collegiate like community, the dance community was it was happening, but you couldn't find it. It wasn't accessible like that. And so I would always be like, big college dance group, big 30-person crew, people doing same thing, wow. Asian, and I just tried so hard, and I never found shit for a while. Sorry for cursing, but like,
all good.
And then finally I came across this website called Donatron.com. And this guy, Donatron, I later found out that he was an alumni of Kaba Modern and from Long Beach. And he took it upon himself to just download all those videos. Like he put videos of Kaba Modern, Kaba Modern, Team Millennia, Culture Shock San Diego. And these are, I'm talking videos from like, you know, like 96 to 2000, like all that era where like straight up, I was just like going down, downloading. And it wasn't like you could stream it. Obviously, it was just like download this .wmv, right? Like, and I would just download all the videos, and so then I got like really obsessed with choreography from that standpoint. And then, so I'm like getting very verby right now, but
what your point is that? What time and what year was that? Like when you got obsessed with choreography or kind of saw that avenue?
I opened that rabbit hole my sophomore year of high school. So this is like 2002. In 2001, 2 is when I found out more, and I was still choreographing things at my church. So I was making like things with my little groups at church, and it was just like rinky-dink stuff, right? And then but then it wasn't until I found that website that it clued me in into this other scene of choreography, and then that led me to Culture Shock LA, because once I started figuring out what kind of things to like type in as a keyword on Yahoo, then I realized that there was free classes going on in San Pedro. And then I was like, what's Culture Shock? I don't even know what this is, but okay, cool. So my sophomore year, I drive over to San Pedro, and then I take, oh no, my first ever class was not in San Pedro. They were kind of going back and forth. They were in at the South Bay Dance Center first, then they went to San Pedro, then they went back to South Bay Dance Center. I went to South Bay Dance Center right before they went to San Pedro. And my first class was with Tessie Chavez, actually. And it whooped my ass. I was super discouraged. I was just like, man, damn, here I was like thinking I was kind of good. And then like, I couldn't follow this at all. And I was super discouraged, and it was mad technical. And then my second class was with Arnell. And yeah, and that one.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Culture Shock LA.
Oh my gosh. Serious.
I want you to know, I might sidetrack us, but
oh, hell yeah.
The last time I saw him, I foresee a big event with Culture Shock, the Kinjaz, and Versa Style.
Yeah.
LA, these are just families and communities that I feel we spread our love in different ways.
Well, I'm gonna add one more. We gotta add the Great One-Ators. And then we gotta add the Great One-Ators.
Oh, mad love to Great One-Ators too. I see Devious in here as well.
Imagine the Great One-Ators, Culture Shock LA.
Hey, that would be hella dope. That would be so dope.
We need to have a meeting.
I'm super down.
Let's make this
I'm super down, for real.
We need to. We come so far, you know, so it's beautiful to hear. And then hearing your story, how we're all interconnected. Because we didn't know each other yet, but I knew Arnell, and I knew Tiffany, and I knew Culture Shock. So I'm sure we were all in the same space, but not yet fully introduced, if that makes sense.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, shout out Tiffany, by the way. This is just my random tale I love to talk about.
I love that.
About with Tiffany.
Yes.
Is that she was on Culture Shock at the time, and I was mad shy. And so, like, every dance thing I went to for years, I was just not talk to anyone, right? I was so damn shy. Like, really? I remember I went to Homeland when I was in high school, and I was so intimidated. I didn't talk to anyone, you know, and they were still playing music off of a boombox at the time. Yeah. But I was hella intimidated. Same thing. I go to Culture Shock. I didn't talk to anyone, right? I went for weeks taking class, didn't talk to anyone. I just go in, bounce, right? A little Asian kid. And then it was Tiffany Bong who finally noticed that I came every week, and she was just hey, what's up? I see Tiffany in here right now too, and shout out Tiff, I love you. She's the one that straight up like encouraged me and like talked to me and was like, hey, like I see you here every week, and she's like, you're not bad, and I was like, I'm not bad, you know? And it was just like, yeah, straight up. And like, she was the one that really just, that was the first human that I talked to after going to different things, but I was just so shy to like connect with anybody. So that was huge for me. So I always give it to Tiff. Like, she was that person that reached out to me, and you never know, like, I have a soft spot anytime I teach for like, you know, that quiet person in the corner that never talks. I'm like, damn, that's me. Straight the freak up. Like, I know how it is, and you never know, like, I don't know, everybody's dance journey is like, you never know how it's gonna go, and like, you could just be so shy. And now I look at that time and of course, I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. Should have gone to Homeland and asked everybody everything. What the fuck was I doing? But, you know, everyone blossoms at different times, right?
Of course. And what's beautiful now, you're at a point in your career where you could do the same for others.
Yeah.
Because we're at a point in a career, we're all around the same generation where people are looking up to us, and what can we do to notice the next, you know, beautiful soul that's ready to rise up and do their own journey. I mean, Tiffany's right here. She said, love you too. It was clear from the beginning. You have a special spirit, heart, and gift. I was that shy girl too.
Shout out
so
Tiffany.
she totally relates, right?
Oh, Tiff, shout out to the shy people. To all
Yeah.
y'all, any next gen in here. And if you're shy and you're mad quiet in all the classes, it's all good. Take your time. Just don't give up. Like, your time will come.
And then just to stay in that time frame, because Devious kind of shouted out something.
Devious is here too.
He told us to ask you about the battle between Elsewhere.
Okay, let me clarify something. Number one, it was not a battle. Okay, not that. I was set up, but it was so pivotal for my dance life. Let me tell you why, in my opinion. So I was also connected to like my sister was at UCLA around this time. And she knew I was obsessed with choreography, and she was like, "Hey, I've heard of this hip hop crew at the Korean Culture Night," and it was just like it was the group that the Korean Culture Night put together. But at that talent show, she was like, "You want to go check out KCN at UCLA?" So I went, and there was a group called Breakdown, and Breakdown is actually Ben Chung, who's a Kinjaz and Jabberwocky as well. He was in that group, and that's when I first met him, and that was super inspiring to me. Yeah. And the reason why I bring this story up is when I met him, I was like super fanboy, and I was like, "You guys are so cool." I was like, "When's your next performance?" And he was like, "We're performing at a show called Collaboration," right? I was like, "Okay, I'm there. I'm freaking there." So fanboy me as a sophomore in high school goes to Collaboration, and I'm going there, and it's like the intermission, or maybe it's right after intermission, and then they're like, "All right, who wants to win $100? Who in here wants to try to dance for $100?"
It was
right?
a battle.
It was a battle.
That's all you had to say.
But no, let me tell you the detail though. The other detail is that the organizers of the show were planning with Elsewhere's manager at the time. We're going to make this a viral clip. And I confirmed this with Elsewhere too, years later. And we're going to make you the surprise at the end of this little audience dance contest. So it wasn't quite an organic battle. It was like this setup thing. Okay. And I just happened to be the guy right before Elsewhere. You see all these guys and little 15-year-old Mike Song in my early journey, and I'm doing moves that are like just the classic, most corniest battle moves in the lunch cafeteria, right? But in my mind, I'm like, woo, and I got like a little bit of love from the audience too, and I was like feeling myself as this like dumb kid. But anyways, I was like, oh snap, they're cheering for me. And they were cheering so much where Elsewhere, you know, obviously his aesthetic at the time, and this is basically all Asian American show too. So even just the fact that a white guy was there was a standout, right? Wow. And so, you know how he started just chilling, doing nuts? I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the beginning, he literally just like fakes it. And it was like this perfect setup of him just like acting like he can't dance, right? The brilliance of Elsewhere. He set it up. He went so far. He didn't even just chill. He went further and went, let me make you think I'm hella whack. And then flip it. And when he did that, he was doing that for so long in the beginning that I turned away, right? I turned away, and then I heard the audience go, ah! And then I was like, what the hell? Next thing you know, I turn around, he's on the floor, full W, like flat to the ground, just like.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Mind is blown, but like also at the same time, it was kind of like this, just again, like things like this exist. I'm like, I've never seen anything like that before at all. And that was just this huge shocker to me. I'm just like, what was that? It was so beyond my understanding. I don't even know if I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Because it was so next level, right? He's just a next level dancer in general. Yeah. So like,
True.
my understanding wasn't even there. I was more shocked than I was given props. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, I don't get it. It's above what I can process. But it was a great humbling lesson.
I'm glad Devious brought it up because I wasn't gonna ask that, but that's what's beautiful because how one thing connects with the next. So here we hear the story of how you started dancing, and I love the interconnections with the groups and the choreography and Mr. Wiggles, because you and me need to chop it up a bit.
The beginning path, we share the same
you guys
path.
share the same path.
It was all about, back then, it was all about Mr. Wiggle VHS tapes. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
How to glide, how to king tut, all that. So, again, shout out to Mr. Wiggles for paving the way big time for a lot of us.
And then to then hear your story with Culture Shock LA, with people that till this day, Mike, we're still friends, and that's what's beauty. It's more than just us dancing. We build community, we build family, right? And how we cannot see each other for months, but I know I feel a genuine love, and we're all in the same room and a genuine respect. And Arnell and Tiffany have paved the way for dance for all the Asian community, because that's we gotta talk about that, you know. I remember when you and I were at USC talking in Tiffany's class, and you were like, "No, Jackie, I really like how you talk, how you serve the Black and Latino." I'm like, "Yeah, you serve the Asian, and we gotta talk about it."
Hell yeah!
It's also a sense of belonging. We gotta encourage our folks to feel proud of where they come from and what they do, and that they're valid. You know, there's not just one race. We're all interconnected in that way, you know, we're all human beings, and we all love this thing we call hip hop, right?
Yeah, so true. So
forward, I'm gonna go to the next thing, because I always knew of you, because in many ways I was like you. I would do my research as much as I can on internet, and though back then Google and all that stuff didn't quite exist, you know. But back then for us, one of the big shows that really influenced dance, I feel, when it came up to the industry, was the show called America's Best Dance Crew.
Hey.
And that's when I first, believe it or not, noticed you, Mike. I'm going based on my own memory. I'm like, who's that Asian kid? He's pretty good. You know?
Somebody Asian. What the hell?
But I was like, I really like that guy. Like, you just dance and the group and the this energy between you guys as a group, because I've always been about having group and choreography and just bringing ensembles together, but you brought it into light with this whole other essence, of course, because of the TV show being so brand new, right? You came at this mecca time. I feel that it really changed the industry in a whole other way. So I wanted to just bring that up, maybe share a little bit about your experience with America's Best Dance Crew. Was that a pivotal moment in your dance career or not in the industry per se? But I just know that I recall rooting for you guys. I just loved your energy. I remember you guys being to the finals, if I remember correctly. Am I?
We were right before the finals. We lost to a group called Status Quo.
I remember, and I just recall feeling upset because I wanted you in the finals. But I think I saw that you had an influence and love for street dance, but yet how you were able to then melt that in with whatever else you were learning with choreography and group ensembles and then your team. Maybe just tell us a little bit about that experience.
Okay. Dang.
He's like, dang, that's so long ago.
Yeah, that's like 12 years ago now. So yeah, that was pivotal for sure. 100%. Like, I never actually thought I was gonna dance for a living, and it was more so because I didn't think it was possible, right? When I watched, like, at least what I thought to be accessible of dance anywhere, I never really had dreams to like dance for an artist or anything like that. To me, I was just more inspired by like dancers. And so straight up, like, I remember when I was in college, my dream was like, because I couldn't even imagine this whole dance world right now that there is now. Straight up, I was just like, you know, if I just get like a job that like gives me enough time to like be on a sick team at night and just fucking kill it at night, that was just sick. I swear that was my dream. Just like, I just need enough time at night to like be on a dope crew and kill it, and then like I'm good. And so that's just I'm only sharing that because like that's how much I didn't imagine I'd be dancing.
So that's
Into
great to hear.
possible. And then when ABDC came out, that happened because they, for their first season, they were searching for crews because obviously it's like a pilot season, so they don't know if it's going to be how the season's going to do. So they're seeking for people at this time, right? No one knows about it. And at that time, Kaba Modern we had just won Hip Hop International, or at least we won US and we got second at Worlds. And so that was when we were on Howard and Karen Schwartz's radar, and they were some of the producers for ABDC. And that's why they gave us that invite, like, hey, we're doing this show. Would you guys be down? And I remember it was Arnell, actually. Arnell was the one that really like handled that process for us because, again, at that time I was a senior in college.
You were a baby.
Yeah, I was a baby. I was 21, and yeah, Arnell, who at this time I wasn't close with him yet. I just knew that he was the founder of Kaba, and I was like, oh, that's the founder, and like also the guy that I used to take culture shock classes from. He's so cool. And then now he was like, hey, I have this opportunity that I want to talk to you guys about, and so like that's when we all met, and then yeah, from there it just turned into like, all right, zero expectations. I think that was the other thing too. It was just like, all right, we're down, but like, you know, there was a bunch of dance shows around that time that just happened, and then you had your 10 seconds of fame and like nothing, right? There was like Dance 360 or Wade Robson Project, right? There was a bunch of like shows that happened, but like I remember watching those, man, I was like, cool. That's it. So it was like, I was like, all right, this is cool. It's like a show, and all right, we're down and we have routines ready. So cool. And then yeah, that just evolved into this whole nother thing, obviously. And yeah, I think that was the first moment of at least pivotal for me because I had to I was on a scholarship at the time for college, and I had to at UCI, and in order to take a break, I had to take a break to do the show. But if I took a break from school, that cuts my financial aid and I can't jump back on it.
Yeah.
But I was so obsessed with doing it. But this conversation with my parents, Asian parents who are already not down for dancing, and now I'm trying to tell them, let me drop out for a quarter to do this dance TV show. By the way, no more financial aid. It was like
not a good conversation.
Yeah, it was so borderline dead end. But my parents or my sisters were the ones who were like super basically like, he's got to do it. Like, you got to give him a chance. And you know, I was like, you know, I was huffing and puffing as well. Like, it's my passion. Do it. So,
I love that you touch on that because you know, Lee and I work with a lot of youth, and that's just a common story a lot in the Asian communities. We have some very dear students of ours that have been in those positions, and I just love that you're inspiring them of the possibilities, you know, because it's not the end of the world. It really is not, but at the time it feels like it is, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know Asian parents in that way are no joke. You gotta be a doctor or a nurse.
But the thing is, like now, even maybe as a sign of getting older, right? Like now I'm like close. I feel like I'm closer to thinking like them now than even my 21-year-old self. Because now I can imagine. I'm like, yo, I left everything from my country. I don't even speak this fucking language. Like, and you gotta dance? I gave up everything. And you gotta dance? What? Like now I'm like, man, that hella makes sense. I totally understand why that would piss them off like crazy. I would still do it, but I hella understand like that. Whereas before I was like, they just don't understand me. It was just like, dang, like there's a lot to understand on their end as well. Like they sacrifice so much, a lifetime of dreams, and they just want to make sure you're good. And then you do this weird thing that they don't understand, and they're just like, it could be so much easier for you. So I get it now. And now I get that.
Of course, it takes us to grow up a bit to understand. That goes for just any nationality in that sense. I want to believe all parents are invested in that way, right? And we don't have that empathy and understanding until we get a bit older.
Yeah.
So with that said, because we were talking about America's Best Dance Crew being, you know, that pivotal moment.
Mm-hmm.
The next question would be.
Yeah. So the next question leading up to be, what is the birth of Kinjaz? When and what?
Let's talk about it.
All right, let's do it. All right. So it's kind of funny. Well, not funny. It's just dumb. But in 2000, or actually throughout all of college, me and Anthony were roommates at UCI. And he was always dancing with CADC, and I was dancing on Kaba. And so we never actually like performed on stage together. Of course, we sessioned at home together all the time, but he directed DC, I directed Kaba, and we just never had a chance to. Yeah, it just never happened. Well, our freshman year, we were on like B-boy club together. We would do random freestyle performances, but other than that, we never really did anything organized together. So Anthony at the time, after college, he was working a sales job, and he was like, oh, I'm done dancing now, and I'm about to move to Arizona for this job. And so this was December of 2009. And at that time, I'm like kind of riding my ABDC wave. So I'm like full on traveling around the world at that time. And I'm like on cloud 9, right? I'm like 22 traveling the world. So I'm just like, right, going crazy. And then, but then when Anthony says he's going to leave, that was like, okay, we have to do like a goodbye performance for you. Straight up, we got to do something together. And so that was when we're like, all right, let's ask all the homies from college that we used to compete against, that were on other teams or whatever, all different, whatever homies, Jay Bueno to your Jet to like Lando was supposed to be a part of the first one. We're just asking everyone around, Noah. And so, yeah. And then when we did this project, it wasn't called Kinjaz, it was called Anbu Black Ops at the time. And it literally was just us being like, there was no ambition. The only ambition was literally we made a list. We're like, hey, like what things do we want to do on stage as our bucket list ever? Because it was also like Anthony was gonna move. So like what are things that we've always wanted to do on stage? So like we're like, you know, I always wanted to take a shot on stage. So we're like, okay, let's take a shot on stage. We're like, okay, we have like a bunch of college homies that are not dancers that we want to get into the show for free. How do we do this? Let's just put them in costume, put them in our show, have a giant roster. We'll just make them stand on stage. They don't have to do anything. We'll just put them on stage with us. And it's just a bunch of little like random things that was funny to us at the time. Let's do a friggin' song. Let's dance to Afro Man 'Cause I Got High. You know, just all these things that we just thought was hella funny. And we made our little bucket list, and we're like, all right, that was how we dictated the performance. And then when we performed, we got a standing ovation at Vibe, and we were like so blown away by it. We're like, what the heck? And I remember going back to the dressing rooms with all the dancers, and then like everybody like applauded and made a tunnel for us. And when we got that kind of love from the other dance crews too, we were like, whoa, that's another like just unforgettable. Like still to this day, that's my favorite performance I've ever done. Not because of the content, like of course I'll cringe at some of the stuff we did, but in terms of the feeling I had performing, that it's unforgettable still. And that performance caused Anthony to quit his job, now move to Arizona.
Wow,
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so. Yeah, that was the beginning.
That was the beginning of the Kinjaz. And here we are 10 years later.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see all your guys' accomplishments, honestly.
Absolutely.
And we have nothing but love and respect for you guys.
Congrats to
Thank
you.
you.
Guys. All of you guys.
I was
Thank
very
you.
blessed to be able to see your new space in downtown. Because it was the Lore brothers, you know, it was their birthday.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I was in London at the time. That's right.
Yeah. Along with Jet Li, you know, and I have a long history with Jet Li. We battled in our days, back in the days. And,
oh, you guys have an epic battle. I remember that battle. There was that one. Oh my god. Yeah, that one battle was epic. Hell yeah. Everybody saw that one.
You know, that was in 2006. I trip out on how time just flies. 2006.
Oh, sick.
Here, Jet Li and I are like
14 years ago.
14 years ago. So it's like
Wow.
beautiful to see, but to go to the Kinjaz place and see all your brothers and sisters in the same space and to see that place was truly a testament of y'all's hard work, you know. And
Thank you.
we were truly there. We showed up to celebrate not just the Lord brothers, but what you guys have accomplished. There's no room for hating. There's just room for love at this point, and we know how much work that takes, you know. And I was just honored to be there to see how far we've come. And just because we're in this present moment, how are you guys doing and handling? Has the COVID-19 and this whole pandemic affected you guys in any way? How are you? I just thought I'd check in real quick. How are the Kinjaz doing with your new home? Because that's a big place.
As well as the studio out in China as well, because we all know you guys have the studio out there as well. So.
But how are the Kinjaz doing right now?
It's like, it's very extreme, straight up. It's like, there's moments where it's like, but then there's moments where it's like, yeah, maybe we should do that instead. And it's just very, as I'm sure everybody's in that boat as well. I'm sure y'all are also, everyone's back to the drawing boards right now, right? Like, straight up, nothing will ever be the same. I'm not even trying to over dramatize that at all, but I truly think this is just another, it's like when YouTube came out, nothing was ever going to be the same, right? Especially with dancers. And I think same thing. I don't think anything is ever going to be the same. And so there's a lot of, I would say there's a lot of things where we're kind of just like holding on, where there are, of course, challenges. I think anybody that has a physical space and has to deal with rent and any kind of expenses like that, I'm sure you guys see it too. Like, there's like stores are closing down left and right. And absolute transparency, like, it's day by day. And so like, we're prepared for anything. Like, if that has to happen, like, something that we are internally saying is just straight up like, you know what, like, our brand and our business, at the end of the day, even if we have to reset, it's about the people. It's not about anything else. So like, if that has to happen, like, that doesn't mean Kinjaz is done. And and the other, I think, encouraging thing that I'm finding from this is like, I feel like if what's happening to us, and I found this when I talk to everybody as well, or a lot of people, is that if all the negative things or challenges that are happening to us as individuals right now was not happening to anyone else around you, I think it would have a completely different psychological effect, right? Be like, oh my gosh, no paychecks, no this, like, oh my God. And then it would just be like, you know, it'd be such a downward spiral. But to just know that everybody else is really, it's not this unique challenge on us, and it's literally everybody's going through it. It kind of like chills it out straight up, and it's like, oh well, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Like, and it's a lot easier to see like the pros of quarantine. You know what I mean? And so like, that's on a whole song. Like, those are the challenges that we face, right? But like, on the pros, I feel like, at least with Kinjaz specifically, we're very like, straight up, we're trying to like pioneer what a career as a dancer looks like. That's our dream, right? We want to evolve, like, what can you do as a dancer besides A, B, and C? You know what I mean? And we want to expand that. And so by doing that, we're like, we oftentimes try to like open up a lot of ideas, and we're like, let's try this, let's try that, because you never know what's going to hit. And we're like, no one else is doing this, or there's very few, you know what I mean, and out of our peers that are really trying to expand what it does, or what's capable as a dancer, in terms of a career as well. And so what quarantine has helped us do, though, is kind of like figure out what we're able to focus on in a different way. It's like, now with variables, we're like, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. And it brought actually a lot of clarity to us. So amidst all the challenges, there's also like this absolute, it's kind of nice to just be like, this is what we should focus on, 100%. There's no, what about this? And then you get caught up, and then there's another conference call about this, and then you're like, oh snap. And there's momentum going in so many different directions. And versus like, yes, there is no,
And that's the beauty of being an artist. I feel us as artists, we have that privilege where we could navigate that and be creative and finding the different ways to survive, you know? to, and also not just to survive, more thrive, to be clear, you know.
Absolutely.
We have that ability to figure out what it is that we could do to make what we do and continue doing what we do, right? And hearing you talk, it very much reminds me of the conversations we're having with our team. We're coming up with all these online projects. How can we do this? How can we do that? And I can't wait. I hope this conversation, Mike, is the first of many, because we're in the same wavelength. And I wholeheartedly believe that the only way we'll all succeed is by creating our own communities and villages of the resources we have, and how can we share. So then at the end of the day, we pass it on to the next generation, because this is bigger than us. Absolutely. This is way bigger than us now, you know. And that's what even Rennie said last week. Rennie even said that in his own words, you know. Hip hop is bigger than hip hop if you really think about it, you know. So hearing you, it comforts me, because there's a lot of pros and cons, and how can we as artists balance both, you know?
How are y'all doing? How is Versatile doing right now?
You know, right now, today, a bittersweet, because today would have been our festival. And that's
snap.
To produce, you know.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, we're grateful that we're healthy, we're here, and we're navigating the different ways and how I would run this business. Because, you know, being an artist is one thing, but running a business is a whole other thing, Mike, as you could relate. And as artists, they don't teach that in schools. They don't teach that, period, right? So I'm just really passionate.
Let alone dance artists. The business of dances sucks.
There you go. This guy. So, but you know, we're just happy. We're at 15 years right now, and I'm just at a point in my career where I just want to keep connecting with folks like you guys to figure out the ways, because we are getting older, you know. Not to say we're old, but I know I can't dance the way I was dancing when I was 21, you know. So then what are the other strengths that I could bring to the table to keep this going? Because like I said, it's bigger than us. And really quick, I want to do a quick shout out to Movement Lifestyle for anyone that's listening. Today there's a big fundraiser to not just today, but the whole weekend, a fundraiser to, you know, help them, you know, raise money to also sustain their facility. And their goal was for $50,000. I am more than confident they're going to surpass that already.
Oh, for sure.
But it's not just about this 1 month. It's about the longevity, which I think people don't get, of what it takes to building. So please, for anybody that's watching, go support Movement Lifestyle, Shauna Evaristo, and this whole family and what they've done, because that's not easy. And I just want to make it transparent that it takes a village. Same way that it takes a village to come and take classes and be part of it, it takes a village to sustain it and make it thrive. So I just thought I'd bring that up, because I commend folks that have space. Versatile has been around for 15 years, but we never committed to a space, because it's a whole other responsibility. As you know, you know. So it's like, to be quite frank, we were kind of scared for a long time, because we've been touring, and you know, we do our dance theater shows, and what would it be if we were stuck in one area, and how would we tour? But that's the beauty. We're building the next generation, so then we could do that work, and we have a next generation of people that run the business end to then hopefully expand the work, you know, if it gets to that end. But like you said, I don't think anything will be the same. No. So I'm interested in how and what that really means in the next year. What will all this look like in a year from now?
Yeah, how can we all adapt and just figure things out?
And that's when we'll see the effects of it, you know. So it's hard times, bittersweet, but I think we're making the best of it. And at the end of the day, we have a roof over our heads, right?
Hell yeah.
That we
you guys have each other. You guys aren't alone in the
Exactly.
space too.
Exactly. You got your lady who cooks you some wonderful meals. What else do you want?
Can't complain. Cannot complain, for real.
But you know, I think I would like to ask another question, if you don't mind. Just I think I have a good 15 minutes, and I do want to save the end. I think this is more of an interesting question. Maybe you want to do it?
Yeah. So we had a question for you. Is there a person who you look up to that you have not shared the dance floor with or the stage with that you would like to throughout your career, or before your career is over, your dance career?
And these dance careers are. Who's that one person you are inspired by that you're like, I haven't danced with that person yet, and I want to do that with? Have you ever thought about that?
A dancer?
Dancer or artist as a whole?
Dang.
He's like, it's a big list.
Because I just don't know if there's like one, you know what I mean, that like
Yeah.
stands above the rest. There's so many people that are like, that would be sick to share the stage with them. But in terms of like one that like, dang, like honestly, a really big one for me was Mr. Wiggles, but I got to share the stage with him, so that was like a huge moment for me.
Yeah, preach
Yeah,
on
dude.
that.
Yeah, that was like that would probably be, yeah, that's probably like one of my like super full circle moments. Whereas, not to say there's no one else, but that was like the one that like stood out of everybody that I admired, because I was connected to him in the beginning of my journey through screen. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there's like a bunch of people. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people I would love to share the stage with at this point. But from a artist, maybe, and let's not even talk dance and just art in general.
Yeah.
It's always been a big dream for Kinjaz to work with Daft Punk. Like that's like yeah. Okay. Just for fun, I'm just gonna throw it out the right energy. I'm sending out energy to the universe. So I'm sending out Daft Punk into the universe. I'm also gonna send out Quentin Tarantino. I just feel like, yo, if you just use us, we're so down to have blood like flying out of our necks and like do some, like I would love to do that.
Dope. That would be dope.
And this one's kind of I would love to do some sort of thing with Kinjaz specifically and Wu-Tang Clan.
Ooh,
there it
done.
is.
But I'm like, yo, come on, you guys like Asian shit, like, come on.
You're a nerd. I love it. This is awesome.
Those are three dope. Yeah.
That's so amazing. And then also, looking back.
What about you guys? I'm curious. What about you? Who is that for you guys?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like everybody knows to an extent, but she passed away already, and it was that's why when Rennie shared it last week, it kind of caught to me. But if I could have shared the stage with Marjorie Smart, it would have been epic. I shared the dance floor with her. I was able to dance with her in exchange, but she had an aura as a woman of color to be on stage, where I'm like, if I could have just been there once with you, you know. That's definitely one person that I wish we could have done something with, at least for me, a personal level.
Cool.
I think of like a legend, may her soul rest in peace, but I know we're all carrying on her legacy to the best way possible, So, but who would you? I mean, there's so many people.
There's a lot. I mean, off the top of my head, though I've worked for him and, with his choreography, I think I've never shared the stage physically with Rennie Harris. And I think him just being a pioneer in street theater, dance and concert stage, I would love to see what that is. You know what I mean? But yeah, Marjorie, I would also love to share, like, in all their heyday, like Wiggles, Pete, Stretch, Link, like just be there, just kind of be in awe with everybody. Just like, just kind of be in that stage and that presence with them. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, so they're just folks in that sense, but there's so many other artists, of course we would love to, and that's like a whole other conversation and stuff. Yeah. But we have about 10 more minutes. Last question.
Okay.
Looking back at all this work, Mike, that you've done, and you've had a thriving career, and I'm so proud of you, in that sense. What are you most proud of? What is one memory that I know you just shared about the Kinjaz and how that first performance was maybe one of those highlights. But for you personally, as Mike Song, what was that one moment that you will just never forget in your career as a dancer that you just knew this is everything? You're gonna be like, everything, Jackie.
Well, I guess, honestly, it comes down to like the most memorable ones are really like very Dude, we weren't on like the biggest stages. Like straight up, there's two that come to mind that are like, clink!
Bro.
And it's the one that I already told you about, the first Kinjaz performance. I'll just never forget that feeling. And it's connected to the birth of Kinjaz as well. So I think that is like, I'll never forget that. It's etched in here, and there's no other performance that tops that as an experience. And this might sound, or actually it's just random as hell. But actually that show I did with Elsewhere, that I danced in the contest. I'm not saying it's that moment, but that same show, because once I found out about that show, the next year I went and entered that show with a crew. And that was my junior year of high school. And that was like the first like kind of on a stage with a bunch of people I didn't know in the audience performance. And I say that one because that was like my big like first really trying to like put myself out there and choreographing something. And then my parents were in the audience, I brought them to K-Town. I was like, you guys got to watch this. And they were so like against me, you know, rehearsing. We held rehearsals in my garage, and my parents like hated it. And I was just like, just begging them for like more time in the garage with my friends. And then after that performance, I just remember like my dad came up to me and just gave me $100 bill. It's this Asian way of like, you can't emote anything verbally. So he's just like, it's just this, right? But that to me is like tears, like the emotional, like, right? All the communication you wish you could have through that generational barrier. $100 says everything, right? And so like that moment was just etched into my mind, like, oh my gosh, this is like some form of like acceptance from my parents. And to be at like the beginning of my dance journey and experience that, like that's like bleep, locked in forever. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I feel like those are the ones that that stick with you forever, regardless.
That's amazing to hear.
Amazing.
I mean,
yeah,
that's beautiful. It's funny that you talk about your parents, because I love your videos with your mom.
Yeah. If y'all haven't seen that, everybody that's watching, go on YouTube. Mike Song and his mom, they killed that, yo. Honestly.
Yo,
That's
a way later thing. It's the irony of life, right? My parents both were not into dancing, nothing at all. My mom didn't start dancing till like way late, till I was far into my career. Yeah, she just needed to like take care of her body, and her body was too brittle to do sports, and it was through dance that like, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But straight up, like, yeah, that was like way later. You never know. I would have never imagined that I'd be dancing with my mom.
That's amazing.
That's great.
I mean, Mike, I'm going to start. I don't know if any of our viewers have any questions. Please start asking some questions if you guys have it. But I'm just honored to finally take the time to hear a little bit about your story, man. Yeah. It's truly inspiring. In many ways, for me personally, you've inspired me, believe it or not. And I love the work that you do. And what I love about you, that there's never been one time where I don't see you and you are so kind, so open, always give a hug. Hopefully you can still give us hugs after this whole COVID-19. But I
feel the same way. I feel the same way. You guys are always good vibes. It's always good vibes anytime I see y'all. So for reals. And I would love to I want to hear your guys' origin stories too at another time, because I know we're about to run out of time on this IG live stream. But I genuinely want to hear, and I want to talk about Mr. Wiggles takes with you, Breeze.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
But you know, truly, you're just an inspiring young man. I love your creativity, your performances. I mean, one of my favorite performances from you was with the beatboxer KRNFX.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And when you did that, I was like, yo, Mike, your creativity and the way you were able to bring dance in that sense was just amazing. One of the questions I love that. I know, when can the Kinjaz and Versa Style do a show together? That's the question.
When we all come together when we do something with Great One Naders and Culture Shock and Kinjaz, and then we have that, whatever that cause is, like that's the time. Straight the freak up.
That's what I'm saying. There you go, Precise. That's what's gonna happen.
Or I guess it already happened at Villain and Impact and Jet Li's birthday too.
Yeah. I tell Impact, I can't believe I danced for Oh, but it was so much fun, and it was just good to reconnect with all your brothers. Like I said, it just felt like home to me.
Yeah.
I could have stayed longer, but then I gotta go home because I had work to do too, you know. But it was just beautiful to see that celebration. And you already know we love the Lord Brothers. We love Impact. He's one of our members that really helped Versatile be what it is today, you know. So
I love Impact, man. That's my brother. I love both of them, obviously. Twins.
Yeah,
my
they're
brothers.
both amazing people.
Yeah.
We always tease him. We always tease him that he left us for Kinjaz. We're like, whatever, Mike, whatever. We love to.
We got Asian food. We got Asian food. That's why we bribed them with our food. We bribed them with our food, and then they turned vegan, and we were like, oh, crap.
You're hilarious. No, but in that sense, it's just truly beautiful to hear your story. And really, the reason I did this is because I think it's the only way. Where this is a creative platform. Like, I think, why did the COVID-19 had to happen for us to use this access? You know, where I know we tend to get really busy, but I think we could always find an hour in the week to connect with folks that inspire us. I'm all about uplifting the youth of the possibilities, and I'm tired of that story that you can't make it as an artist. I think you can. We just need to be taught how and how to run the business end of it, and how to connect with people and how to work with people. So I guess with that said, and maybe this could be your last words, what advice do you have for the next generation of artists, you know, as a professional artist?
Professional artist.
I think your whole thing was already so much advice, but if you had something to share to the youth, there's a lot of young folks listening right now. What would it be?
Off top, I would just say, like, don't play the short-term game. Like, play the long-term game for sure. Because I think it's easy to, like, have a quick boom. And there's a million talented people out there. So talent is actually a dime a dozen. So if you actually, like, realize, like, that's it's almost like a mandate. It's like, so it's necessary, but that's just mandatory. But then it's like there's everything else, and so I guess what I mean by that is, like, really try and think about, like, where you want to go, and, like, on your long term, and don't discourage yourself out of trying things, because I think something that I still battle with is, like, you're gonna be discouraged by people on the outside, 100% guaranteed. So, like, you can't add to that in your own brain, right? And it's so hard, but, like, it's just taking risks, right? And, like, you have to be able to try something, or have, I guess, try to have that courage to try what you feel is, like, I just have a gut feeling. If you feel it really strong in your gut, to try something, like, go for it, and, like, learn the lessons that come from it after. If it fails, then just collect your data. But otherwise, you know, failing at something that somebody told you to do is much more painful than failing at something that you, like, were so sure about. So yeah, like, just go for it. Try things, take chances, because it's a long-term game. You know what I mean? Like, things are gonna come and go. Different apps are gonna come and go. Like, it's cool. This is one thing, but there's another technology. Different artists are gonna come and go. And, you know, I get inspired by, like, the director that I see win an Oscar at, like, 56, right?